Hi everyone. So today we'll be going through two topics. First one is how you can connect to a remote machine over SSH, and the other topic is what are the flags or switches in Linux operating system. So let's start. We'll be referring to Linux Fundamentals Part 2 room on tryhackme. So here actually I have already started this machine. That's why we can see the IP address of this target machine. And also normally you see a button called start attacker box to access your Kali machine on in the browser itself, but I have already started it, so that's why I see this button show split view. When I click on it, we can access our Kali machine within the browser. Okay, so I will minimize it for the time being. So what our goal is in the first section here is we have to connect to this particular machine, okay, this target IP address over SSH. Okay, uh, in the task one we don't have much actually, so we can directly complete this part. And here in the second part we are supposed to connect to this remote machine from our Kali machine that we can access by clicking show split view. We are supposed to connect over SSH. Okay, so how we can do it? Okay, before doing that in practical, we will just discuss SSH in short. Okay, so SSH actually stands for secure shell. Okay, and what you can do with SSH is if you want to access this terminal, okay, that we have mostly on Linux systems. Okay, you want to control or you want to access the terminal of a remote machine, okay, remotely, okay, without going into the graphical user interface like this, or you 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 do not want, you do not have the physical access to that machine and you want to access that machine remotely from your own computer. Okay, in that case what you can use, you can use the SSH or secure shell if you call it. So how does it work? Okay, for example, this is our computer and this is the remote Linux server, and we are connected through internet. So what I can do from my computer, I can control this remote Linux server if this remote Linux server is running an SSH service. Okay, so what SSH does, it allows us to remotely execute commands because it will give us the access to the terminal, right? So we will be able to see a terminal like this of a remote machine, and there we can run commands whatever we want. It could be anything. Okay, so it allows us to access, it allows us to run commands remotely. One advantage of using SSH is that. Another one is SSH is actually secure. Okay, so whatever data is being sent between our computer and that remote computer over the internet, that would be always encrypted. So even if someone is listening in between, there is a attack, actually man in the middle attack, maybe in future we will be discussing it. Using that attack, some attackers can listen on the network, okay, what is going on within the network. So even if some attacker is listening on your network, he or she wouldn't be able to decrypt the data because it is encrypted. Okay, so that's the advantage of using SSH. And in brief, you can say using SSH you would be able to control a machine remotely. Okay, but you will only get a terminal access like this. Okay, this part only. You won't get a full graphical GUI interface, like you won't be able to use your mouse and everything. Okay, you will only get this part access. Okay, this terminal that you can see. So let's see how we can do it. Right now this is our Kali machine, and from this Kali machine we will try to remotely connect to this particular IP address over SSH. And let's see here, we are already given the username and password as tryhackme, and our remote machine IP is this. Okay, so the syntax that we should be using to connect over SSH is you put SSH then space username of the remote machine. Okay, so that is tryhackme only. Then you put at the rate and then the IP address of that remote machine. So that is 10.10.156.148. Once you put it, you press enter. It's going to ask you whether you want to connect or not. We will say yes, and then it will ask us the password of tryhackme user. So that is also tryhackme. So we will put it. Even though you don't see anything being written here on the screen, but once you type it, it will be there, and when you press enter, it will be accepted. So now I press enter. First time it will take some time to connect. Okay, so just wait wait for it to complete the authentication, and then we should be connected to that remote machine over SSH. So yeah, now as you can see, we got some other message, and here you can see got uh, we got a place to provide our commands. Okay, what I will do, I will run the clear command first so that we can clear the screen, and let's extend the size a bit. I will zoom in a little bit. Now see what I will do, I will show you that we are on the remote machine using ifconfig command to show your IP address. Okay, like show the IP address of the machine where we are running this command. Okay, so if I run ifconfig, okay, it will take some time, or sometimes ifconfig doesn't work, so you can use IP space addr as well. So yeah, here you can see that the IP address of this machine is 10.10.156.148, which is same as our target machine, which means we are running right now commands on this machine. Okay, so that's how you can connect to a machine over SSH. Now we have few questions here that will complete. Okay, there are no questions, so we will directly complete this one. So that's how you can connect to a remote machine over SSH. And we are done with our first part. Now we will move on to the second part, which is the use of flags and switches in Linux. Okay, so I will minimize this. I will maximize this one. So what do we understand from flags and switches? Uh, for example, just as an example, if you are ordering pizza at a restaurant, and then um, whatever extra suggestions you give them, okay, like make it extra, like put extra chili or put extra mushrooms, things like that. Okay, like giving extra instructions, and based on that the output that you are going to receive, right, the final pizza that you are going to receive, that's going to be different. So similarly, we have different commands in Linux, right? We have ls, we have who am I, we got pwd, we have different commands. Okay, so what we can do, we have different flags and switches actually, and if we use those flags and switches, we would be able to get a different output than the normal output. What I mean by that is, suppose I am running the ls command like this. Okay, so I see the files and folders in this format, but still I am not able to figure out which one is a file or which one is a folder, right? So if I want a detailed description of all the files and all the folders in my current directory, what I can do, I can use ls space hyphen l. Now this hyphen l, it's a flag, or you can also call it a switch. So when I enter now, you can see that I get a lot of data. Here we get permissions, we will be discussing in later part. Here we can see when it was modified, then this is the file name, this is a folder. How we are able to distinguish whether which one is a file, which one is a folder? Because under the permission section, the first bit, okay, first part determines whether it's a file or not. So here we can see it's a d means directory, and directory is equal to folder only, so that's why this is a directory. Other ones, it's empty actually, so wherever it is empty, that means it's a file. So that's how you can differentiate between a file and folder. So using this particular hyphen l flag, okay, we can get a lot more data. Okay, now there is one more important um, switch, you can say, which is hyphen a. Now hyphen a stands for all the files. Okay, what do we mean by all the files? If I press enter, okay, you can see that now I see few additional entries here, like .bash rc, .profile, .cache. Okay, why is that? Because by default Linux doesn't show you the files which are hidden. Okay, and the hidden files or hidden folders always starts with the dot. Okay, but when we run ls with the hyphen a, you would be able to see all the files, okay, including the hidden files. So every time you are using ls to find out the content of a particular directory, okay, you should be always using hyphen a as well, because some files could be hidden there. So that's how you should be using it. Now you can definitely combine the flags as well. If you want to get a most more descriptive output, and also you want to see all the files including hidden files, what you can do, you can use ls space hyphen al, or you can also use la, okay, in whatever manner you want to use. And if you use it, now what you will see, that you got a more descriptive output. Also you can see the hidden files as well, like dot cache. Dot cache is an actually a directory, hidden directory, okay. Dot bash archi is a file. Dot bash logout is a file, okay. So whenever you are trying to find out all the files or whatever there is in the directory, okay, you should be using it like this, ls space hyphen la or al you can use to figure out what is there in the directory, okay. So these things are actually called flags. Now how do we find out what are the flags that is supported by a particular command, okay. For example, if a particular command supports flags, okay, it is mostly going to have an option like hyphen hyphen help, okay, or sometimes hyphen h as well, okay. Let's see if we have it for ls. So yeah, it's not working this that way. We will try with hyphen hyphen help option, okay. So now you can see that I will go to the, just a moment, I will go to the full screen mode so that we can see it better way. So I will go into the full screen mode, and here as you can see, once I ran the command like ls space hyphen hyphen help, I can see a kind of manual you can say, okay. So here we can see that hyphen a if we use it, or hyphen 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 all if we use, it will mean that do not ignore the entries starting with dot, okay, and the entries starting with dot are hidden files. So that's what it means, that if you use hyphen a, small hyphen a, it will print all the files, okay, including the files or folders starting with dot, okay. Similarly, if we talk about that hyphen l option, that should be here somewhere, yeah, hyphen l, it's used to print a long listing format, like to give you more details, okay. And there is one more option here, hyphen h, okay. It actually means print the size of files in a human readable format, okay. So see, if we use hyphen l, the size are actually printed in bytes, okay. We have discussed in past sessions as well, but the size is displayed in bytes, okay. But normally we refer to size as kb, mb, gb, right? So if you want to print the size in a, like if you want to know the size of a file in human readable format, you should be using hyphen l, hyphen h, my bad. So that's how you can find out different switches or flags supported by a particular command, okay, using hyphen hyphen help option with that command. One another way of doing it is manual pages are there, okay. So if you use man space and the command name, okay, you would be opening the manual page, and it's going to be more in detail compared to the hyphen hyphen help option, okay. The same thing is explained here as well, okay. You, if you want to read it, you can read it. So this way you can read the normal help, and if you try to access the manual pages using man command, okay, you would see a much more descriptive data. So here you can see, you can use right now, because my mouse is working, you can use scroll down to go down, okay, and a lot of data is there, and all the flags which is supported by this command you can see, okay. In case, or you can use enter as well to go down, okay. And once we are done with it, what we can do, we can press q on the keyboard to quit this manual page, okay. So I will press q and we are out of that manual page. So that's how you can find out what are the different flags and switches supported by a command, okay. One option is this hyphen hyphen help option, the other one is the manual pages that you can use this way. And now after man you can put any command, okay. Sometimes manual pages are missing, so you should be using the hyphen hyphen help option to get more details. Now yeah, we discussed about that hyphen h option, right? So I will show you the difference actually. Suppose I am using ls space hyphen l to show me all the files, okay. Right now all these are being shown in bytes, okay. All the files are being shown in the bytes. If I want to read it in a human readable format, I can use hyphen hyphen lh. Oh my bad, this was the size of file, okay. So here this is 14 bytes, 16 byte, 4096 bytes, okay. But if I want to read it in a more readable format, what I can do, I can use hyphen h option, and here you can see it's now showing as 4 KB, right? So that's how the hyphen H option is useful to see the sizes of files or folders in KB, MB or GB for that matter. Okay. So now I will just clear this screen. Let's move on to the next part. After manual pages, what do we have? So it's asking us to explore the main page of ls command. We already did. It's asking us what directional arrow would you use to navigate down the manual page. Okay, so apart from scroll down or enter button, you can use down key on your keyboard as well to go down. Okay, in that manual page. For example, I will just quickly show you here. If we run access the manual page of ls command, you can use down button as well to go down, okay, on your keyboard. So yeah, so that's the right answer for this particular one. And what flag would you use to read the output in a human readable format? So that is hyphen h. So yeah, that's all for today. We discussed how you can connect to a remote machine over SSH. Also, we discussed what are the different flags and switches in Linux. And using hyphen hyphen help option or using manual pages, you can find out what are the different flags or what are the different switches supported by a particular command. So that's all for today. Thanks for watching.